All right, I'm gonna make you the host and I am off, but I'm gonna be in town. So if you need me, I'll bring my laptop with me.
Okay.
Better not leave now, because are you in the town hall right now?
I am in town hall, but I'm only going to Bigelow, so I should be okay.
I was gonna say, it looks nasty in front of me, and I'm on the other side of the hill there.
Okay. So Isabella says
I'm
that
going.
she says the webinar will begin shortly. Should we see Isabella? She's a guest.
Well, there's people in the guest attendees now. Isabella
Promote. Got it.
Bodansky is there, and Sam is back.
All righty. Whew.
Good luck, guys.
Hello.
I think I might be losing again. It's coming down pretty nasty out there now.
Okay.
So,
Oh my. Okay. So so
Okay,
you're
cool.
Isabella. Let's see. We got this is kind of funny. Isabel, can you try again? Okay. Okay, so we're going to try again, and just for the recording's sake, this is a Trails Committee on Tuesday, July 27th, and we have already read the preamble, and we called the meeting to order, and we did a roll call vote, and you got to trust me on this if they don't piece these videos together. We were discussing volunteer appointment. And the option to have adjunct committee members and kind of craft a new approach to the Trails Committee to get a few more hands on deck, but not increase, quorum and issues and things like that. So we were talking about some of the pros and cons. Was there anything else that we didn't have here? Because I'm going to write the Board of Selectmen, and it's going to be at the top. The topic's going to be discussed at the next meeting. On the 17th. So anything you guys tell me, we'll share with the committee for ideas.
did you hear me about the automatic, if you're an adjunct automatic member?
No automatic member. So I'm going to ask Isabella if she can call in. Oh, if she doesn't have internet, she doesn't have her phone. Oh, let me give her. Oh, can someone?
No, she has cell internet, but she doesn't have Wi-Fi internet.
Can someone email her or text her the phone number from the invite? I included it at the bottom of her minutes so that I can
take care of that. Let me just where's my mouse?
And then I want to just pause a moment and give Isabella an opportunity just to, I jumped through the appointment issues. Was there anything else that you wanted to add that you wanted to share with the committee about the appointment that I didn't touch on or did not give you an opportunity to chat about?
No, I think you touched on everything. It was just, I was not expecting to have to choose between the two committees. So I was kind of like frazzled when they said that I had to choose. So I was really not expecting that. But yeah, I think you touched on everything.
Yeah.
And as for the volunteers for the Trails Committee, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, wonderful. So, so I think, good. So I'll put together a request. I told Lisa, I thanked her for her time on Friday and told her that I would send her an email outlining some potential options. And then obviously we would work with the board, and we have to get the board's support to be able to do something like this. And, it might be new what we do. So that will kind of be exciting if we can come up with something that's going to work for everybody. Great. So the next topic is the EDC meeting recap. So I attended the last meeting, and thanks to Tom, he made the suggestion that I reach out to John Wood, or I think he reached out to John Wood, and it was from the volunteer breakfast we connected. So I talked to the EDC, and what we asked them was, because Marika is such a wonderful grant writer and a resource to EDC, they've gotten a lot of different grants. We asked for EDC support in just reviewing our grant proposal when we come up. It's going to be due if all things line up as they should. It will be due in February. It will come out in November. So what we asked is if she could do like a brainstorm session with us, and we can, we're going to do all the work, but have someone with some grant writing skills, some bigger grant writing skills, kind of look at it and make some suggestions for improvement or whatnot, just to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. I need to close the window or I might blow away. So give me just a second. So yeah, so I think that was great. And I spoke with Marika on Friday. She's going away for a little while, but it's a little early to get started now. We have a lot of different things in the works. So we're going to reconnect in a month or a couple months once the grant is out and we know what we're doing and we can kind of come up with a game plan there. So that's just a simple recap. Any questions or comments on that? Great. So that will put us in a really good position. And they said that they would write a letter of support for us. And so I think what we should aim to do for the grant proposal is get every board and commission that makes sense to have write a letter of support so that demonstrates there's town-wide support for the grant. So, and I think that should be pretty easy to do, and we can talk about the strategy on getting that taken care of in the coming months. So our next order of business is the Peninsula Trail, updates on the public access plan and the MWA permit. So Tom, are you still with us? You're just behind the scenes?
I'm just behind the scenes.
Just checking. Okay. So good news. I did a site visit with Sean Nevin from MWA. He's our contact that's very responsive there. I'm working with him on two fronts. One is the Peninsula Trail, but also on the Aqueduct Trail. So we did a site visit and I wanted to show him where we wanted to put the boardwalk. And I can actually, I'll share screens because this is where it gets fun to talk about. It's easier to talk when you're looking at a map. Okay, and actually this isn't going to be the right map. So give me just a second to share something else. Oh, now I'm really lost. New share is here. Okay, do you guys see, do you still see a blue screen or do you see Google Map? Do you
I see the map, all trails.
Let me see. What All Trails map do you see?
The one with the scouts.
Aqueduct.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I'm gonna do this again. Sorry, Isabella. And you go by Bella, is that right?
Yes, I go by Bella.
Okay, and that might help some of us who call, for Isabel versus Bella.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. But yeah, you can call me Bella for the sake of just making things easier.
So why is it your screen share is paused? Well, resume share. Okay, now do you guys see Google? Do you see my browser at all? What are you looking at?
Yes, you just open
yeah.
Google Maps.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you, okay, so this is the peninsula and the trail goes along here, this existing access road. And originally it was going to go right and connect to Route 30 and we walk along this, the roadway here and the small bridge, which isn't safe, and then reconnect on the connector. So what we're proposing to do is, this is the driveway into MWA. So the trail comes down here along Fayetteville Dam, probably right here actually. And then what we're asking to do is cut across here, and there's a nice little trail they mow. So you walk along here, and then what we would do is put a boardwalk, like all of this is kind of wooded, and there's some, what's it called, wetlands there, some wet area. So we would have to build a boardwalk from like this point all the way over, and then a little footbridge over the Stony Brook. So he said, yes, that they're open to doing that, to considering that project. Now, we have a lot of hurdles to be able to do that. We have to work with our Conservation Commission, and we have to obviously fund it with the grant, hopefully, but this little boardwalk could be really exciting. We could have a little viewing platform and talk about wetlands and the importance of wetlands and that type of stuff. So it could be a nice asset to the town. So that was the one site visit we did. And then the other one, we wanted to talk about where is the Aqueduct Trail going to be. So let me just see if I switch screens here. Are you seeing my PDF now?
No, still the Google.
Share. Okay, now you should see it, right?
No. Oh, yep. Yep.
Okay, so you see this green, you see my hand going here. This green is Weston Aqueduct. So that's an existing aqueduct off of Pine Hill Road. And if you ever drive down Pine Hill, there's a little stone gate, stone structure here. So the Aqueduct Trail connector would extend from where you see my mouse at Pine Hill Road, straight line, following the same Weston Aqueduct line, all the way to the BCT connector. Okay, it's only 2.2 miles, right? Very small space. But the challenge here is the easement. So MWRA owns an easement that, you know, comes out here all the way to here. They provided a map, but it's not as detailed. It doesn't have like the boundary markers like this. The boundary markers are not indicated on the land. So the one thing MWRA asked me to do is to please make sure that we're only building on the easement. So how do we do that? We need to find, you know, how do we confirm what the boundaries are? So I went to the assessor's office and I asked them if they had any information on this piece of land, and they did not, but they did blow up a map. And they said, he provided me an idea. He said, you could take a string and line it up with the Weston Aqueduct and walk it all the way straight, just stay straight to the connector trail. And that would be your line of, you know, how you'd build the trail. So that's one option. That would be a really long string. Another option is he suggested that we contact the abutters, which we need to do anyway, and ask them if they have their property lines outlined anywhere. So if they know where their property line is, we know that we're going to be on the other side of that, right? So that we are not encroaching on our neighbors. So that's the second option. And then a third option would be to get a surveying company to survey the plot and find out where the lines are. And that costs money. But this is an Eagle Scout project. And as coincidence would have it, I was at the transfer station on Saturday, and the Eagle Scout who's doing a boardwalk off of Bigelow had a survey company that he used and that does some pro bono work for Eagle Scouts. So we could potentially have our Eagle Scout reach out to that company if we had to, if our other options didn't work out. So, and also Sean confirmed that we would be able to amend the existing agreement versus doing a new 8M permit, which shortens the timeline a ton. So that's good news.
The only thing I would say is I would want to do the assessors.
You mean the survey?
The survey, the official legal survey versus a string or the abutters, because you could open up a whole can of worms if you don't have an official survey.
I agree with you a lot, because we don't want to get this wrong, and we don't want to build and put in a trail that's on the wrong land.
Exactly.
But the survey, the private surveys, the survey companies, that is official what they do also.
Like, what was that last part?
The survey companies that do the survey, that their work is also official. I mean, it is legal.
Oh yeah. It's whatever the survey companies are licensed by the state, and whatever their stakes are is the line.
Yep.
Okay. So so I think what we'll have to do, we'll talk to the Eagle Scout when we meet with him and have him reach out to the company and see if they'll be able to help do that survey. But we have made good stride as far as MWA agreeing to do this and to allow it to be an amendment versus a new agreement. That will be easier to work with.
I also just have like a quick suggestion for ways to survey the land. I'm not sure if you're familiar with GIS platforms. It's graphing information systems.
Yep.
But the town should have access to one of the biggest GIS platforms, and they usually are very good with town boundaries, so could potentially look into that.
Thank you. That's a really good suggestion. And I reached out to DPW because I know they work with GIS and they've helped us identify town land before. And because Pine Hill Road is a town road, they must have some detailed information about that easement, I was thinking. So I did reach out to Karen Galligan. She's the Public Works Director and Superintendent, I think is her title, and asked her if she happened to have any information. It's a long shot, but that's a really good suggestion. But I'm surprised that if the assessor's office didn't have access to the GIS information, you know, that what other department would? Does anyone have any thoughts?
I also have GIS access on the ArcGIS platform.
You
So
do?
yeah, I'm currently looking to see if I can find those boundaries, but
Interesting.
Okay.
So
But the, Sam suggested the town planner should have access, Karina Quinn.
and she's in, what is she in the planning?
No, she's our town planner,
Planning,
not planning board, but I guess, I don't know.
planning department.
Yeah. Sorry. But again, if we're starting to depending on how much disruption that is, in my gut, if you have someone that stakes it and puts the exact lines in and it's official,
Can't go wrong.
we can get a good guesstimate. But we're talking about blazing a trail, and I don't know if we need any structures, and especially if it's close to a house,
Yeah.
it gets me worried.
But
Yeah.
what about the GIS maps on the town site? Did you try that one?
I thought, well, what I tried was I went to the assessor's office and he printed off the plot, the plot that it's at. And so it's the same, like it matches the map that shows an easement that MWA provided, but the MWA map was like an early 1900 map. It was a really old map. And so I personally haven't gone on to the assessor's map to do any more than that because he brought out the big maps, you know, and showed me, and then he printed out the property boundaries so that we could talk to those people. So I have that information, but I have not gone on the website.
Yeah.
But the
There's
problem with the,
town maps and then SSS maps, GIS maps. There's a host of different maps.
but a lot of problem with that is there's a marker someplace, a stone wall, a stone crossing or whatever. If that marking is gone, that's referenced in the map, then you need an assessor.
That is a good point. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna need to figure out then a good approach on this because it's gonna potentially delay the project if we have to wait in line for a survey or to come out and do his thing, especially if it's pro bono. We might be, depends on how busy they are. But thank you, Isabella. That's great to know. So you have access to ArcGIS. That's interesting. So do you have any map print, like making skills?
yeah, I just finished up my college career with a course on GIS.
Yeah.
So I do have some map making. skills.
Ooh, let's use your skills to help us get better maps.
Yeah, I could definitely help with that.
So Sam commented, Karina works with our GIS and does a lot of parcel boundaries work for the planning board. So if that's the case, then that should be just as good as a surveyor, I'm assuming, but.
Yeah, we could definitely start with her then and see where we go, where we get from that. Surprised I wasn't put in touch with that department, but that's okay. Okay, so let's do that. And so, yeah, so I did share some of this with Nick, the Eagle Scout. And so we'll see how far we can take it and whether we have to have him ask for the survey. But I'll do that in the next week and try to keep that moving forward quickly. Also on the Peninsula Trail, so that is, we have not heard from, so I reached out to Jamie Carr. He's the watershed director, and asked if he had heard any updates on the movement of the public access plan And he said that he had requested that they are requesting an internal meeting to get the public access, the public process started again. And I asked if he had a timeline, and he did not have a timeline. So while I am appreciative of that, that's more of an update than we've gotten since March. It's not really gonna help us get to the finish line, because I'm not sure how long that internal meeting will take to schedule, especially with vacation schedules. So I reached out to Carolyn Dykema and asked for her assistance, as we have talked about doing before. Sent her a letter, and I just outlined what we were doing, and she's familiar with the Burroughs Loop. She attended the kickoff, and offered to help. And then also in December of 2020, she was at the Board of Selectmen meeting, and again offered to help if we needed some help with the trails. So that topic came up, and so I reminded her of those couple touches, as a way of refreshing, but invited her to have a conversation if she had time to kind of help us move that forward. So I did let her know that we have a time sensitive matter because of the trails, the Mass Trails grant that we're looking to apply for, that we feel, and we were told that we need to have an agreement in place before we can move forward. So that's where we are with that. Any questions or thoughts on that piece? Okay. So CPA funding, I think they're working on the memorandum of understanding for the Trails Committee for our CPA app for the funding. So I haven't been given an update officially by the CPC committee, so I'm just assuming, I think I said too many C's there, but I think that should be coming forward shortly. And my one question would be is, how long, I don't know how they're going to structure the funds, how long are the funds available, and when do we have to spend it by? And I think what we'd be looking for is as much flexibility as we can have for that. I don't think there's not a fast and heavy rule that you have to spend it in a year. So if we're using it as matching funds for the grant, and the grants say they just announced the grants from last year, this year, they just announced them like in the last week. So where are we? It's in July. So say they announce them next July, then it depends on how fast we can get the vendors in place and things like that to be able, I don't know if we'll be able to break ground and do the project next year, or if it's going to flow into the 2023. So we want to just make sure, whatever the memorandum of understanding, that there's some flexibility there. Any suggestions on anything else that we need to be looking for in the memo?
No.
Okay, so that's that. And trails maintenance updates. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I can't see attendees and I can't see chat when I'm doing that. Okay, so trail maintenance update. So on the 17th of June, when did we last meet? We met on the 22nd, because I remember seeing this in the minutes. So Isabel and I did the trail maintenance. So we went out on Route 85, on the Sudbury Reservoir Trail BLT. We did Parkerville, we did Deerfoot, and I went out to the one on the loop, the Watkins loop off of Route 85, and just cleaned that up a little bit. So then we got a complaint about the trail, the grass on Parkerville. So that has been, so I went out and surveyed the trail, and the grass was fine. It's just, it's going to grow up a little bit between mows, and at that point it was fine. The level of it was okay, and I just let the person know that we appreciate their eyes on the trails. But unfortunately, that's considered a good trail experience. Unfortunately, if they thought it was a little bit longer, it was just what it is. And So then I have since contacted MWRA because we talked about last time the Ward Road, the trail off of Ward Road was pretty tall. So they did get to mow that. And then they did it in sections. So they did off Ward Road first, and then they did some of the, like between Northborough Road and Route 30, they did that too. So that's looking good now. And Judith Watson from Conservation Commission, although not representing Conservation Commission, she's an AMC leader, a hike leader. She had reached out to ask about the Ward Road to see if she was going to lead a hike on the 31st, and wanted to know if the grass was really tall, or it had been, and if it's going to be mowed. So I gave her the update. And it's one of those things, by the time she gets, so this was like a week or more ago, and by the time she gets to the 31st, it's going to be grown up a little bit more. So unfortunately, unless we, I think I'd mentioned MWA is scheduled to mow it twice a year, and the schedule's not based on our needs. It's really based on their availability and what they can do, and sometimes the weather. So I don't know if anyone has any suggestions on how we can better maintain the trail off of Ward Road. I just think it's kind of been, each year it's a bit of a problem because it grows up faster than we can cut it down. And I don't know what else we can do. We don't have a mower, and we're not authorized to go out there with a mower. Any thoughts on how we?
Do we know what our options are from DCR? Can we actually have a private company like J&J, say, just spitballing? If we can allow a third party to cut it, is that even feasible?
That's interesting. So J&J does the Deerfoot, or the east of Deerfoot, maybe not just at Deerfoot, but down by Parkerville, that area, and on to the Sudbury.
But they can go right to the pumping station there on Johnson Road, I think it is, continue along underneath the highway, then continue that trail till where it goes. Well, it gets kind of tricky because there's rocks, there's, like where the stream comes down a little bit. At least to there would be a great improvement.
Well, if they could get access to the Ward Road access gate and go down.
Well, what about Johnson Road access gate? You know where the pumping station is?
I do, but that's like, is that trail bad right now?
No, but I'm just saying that's an access point. So you just come in right there, you mow all the way as
And you
far
have
as
to cross
they
the
can
little
go.
bridge.
They can cross the little bridge, take a
That-
left over the bridge and take a right and do the trail itself, and then turn around and come back and, do 2 swipes.
Yeah.
Like I said, DCR probably said, no, nobody can do that.
Well, see, that's DCR land, but MWA it's under their care and control. So I think MWA would be the ones to say yeah, or nay, perhaps. I know that's confusing, but I didn't make it the rules. So perhaps, and I know that we talked to Karen last year, and adding a parcel to mow to J&J's budget wasn't in the budget last year. So I think maybe we approach them, since they're going to be going into their budget cycle this fall. Maybe we approach them and see if that's even an option. Like if I can say to MWA, hey guys, can we get a third party contractor that's already mowing some of the trails to do a midsummer mow? Like even if they did it once, maybe they did it first.
Just once in between their mows.
And then we would get 3 mows, because technically J&J they only mow us 4 times a year, the other trails. So that works out for the most part. So maybe if we add 1, maybe they'll be open to that. So that's a great suggestion.
But if that doesn't work, then I would say that we do it very early in the season when the thing is like small. I mean, grass is not high. And then, on regular intervals you do, so that you don't have to do like 4 hours in a day, when it is too big. I mean, that is one of the things.
You mean do it
The
with
way that we have been doing, yeah.
like a weed whacker?
Yeah.
Like go out there and mow the grass with a weed whacker?
It's pretty long for a weed whacker.
No, we did that once.
Oh, you did it to make a path.
That,
to
yeah.
To get to the.
Yeah.
That's an unfun experience.
Unfun experience.
Unfun. No fun.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if it doesn't work, if they can do it, that.
I like your thinking. It is the right way to be thinking about it, but hopefully someone with a machine could get out there.
But we
I remember
can,
seeing the weed whack path though before. It was really cute. I mean, it really helps though, because the trails, they just get so overgrown with all the grass there because it's so wet. So like everything just grows back super fast.
All right, well, maybe we think about that, I guess. In a pinch, like if, okay, we could have a weed whacking party.
But can you not take, I mean, can we take our own lawnmower there and do it? I don't
You know, I've wondered that too. I think, you know, why don't I inquire about that? Like, you know, are there options if we bring our own machines? Like, obviously, we're going to do it at our own risk. And I would recommend before we do that is that we have to walk it and flag, because there's going to be some rocks and some
No, definitely.
things there.
That's
That,
what Tom was also saying. There are a lot of rocks, there.
yeah, it will take down our machines in a one bang.
Yeah, I mean,
We want to be careful.
yeah.
But that's, hey, you know, all right. I'll ask that, hands our own tools. But speaking of that, Sati, I want to bring up something that you had mentioned last year that was a really good idea, but we didn't know how to implement it, which was to ask for donations for tools. Remember, you came up with that. So since COVID happened and the swap shop got closed down, a few residents created a Southborough recycling Facebook group. Okay. And just the other day, someone was offering up a hard rake, and it made me think about your idea. And I could contact the Facebook group just to make sure it's within the rules. Always want to pay respects to the people who have the groups and say, hey, would you mind if the Trails Committee put out there a request if anyone had these 5 types of tools, a hard rake, soft rake, I don't even know what you call it, but you know, maybe even a Pulaski or some of those more technical things, some loppers or things that they're willing to part with and donate to the committee. Would you be willing to do so? And we could get a little cache of tools.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, that's your idea, but
No, I mean, but still, to
yeah,
contact them, find them out, and that's the thing.
I mean, we might get a few things, and it might be, you know, and then we could just even put it out there if anything comes up in the, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Right. Cool. So free tools. We'll see. All right. So that's that. And so now trail maintenance, moving into the next topic, which is number 10. I'm going to come back to number 9 is we had another group reach out to us. This is like the year of volunteers, which I love, but it's called, they're called Verity with a V Opportunities. And it's a volunteer group that's associated, I think, with the Algonquin High School. And it's a group of students that have formed this volunteer group. Then they go out into the community and do volunteer work, whatever it is to better the community. And so we were contacted by, his name is going to escape me. His first name is Charles. And I think it's, let me just see if I can quickly pull it up and get it correct. The first, Charles Tang. He reached out and said that he has a group that would like to do some trail maintenance. And he said he has about 10 to 15 individuals that would be willing to help us. And so this is perfect timing. I went out last week to survey all the trails to see where we could have people go. And I did ask him if they would be willing to separate, because I think if we do a divide and conquer, that would work best, that we wouldn't have, I mean, 15 people, we couldn't put them on one section. It would be way too many people. And I think, Tom, you had made a comment about 9/11 needing some trimming. So basically the places that we need trimming is kind of all the places we did in June that Isabel and I had touched. So the Route 85 trail off of the cemetery needs some proactive trimming, brush trimming. Parkerville, again, it's not awful, but they could use some trimming along the edges, and the grass is growing up through the planks of the boardwalk. So there's some work we could do there. Deerfoot definitely needs some more help. And then the Watkins Templeman Woods could use some assistance, and then 9/11. So there's basically, we should be able to hit most of the trails. Ooh, there's one more section I forgot. When I did the site walk with Sean, it was kind of embarrassing because we, the little area off of, how do I describe it? If you're at Clemens and Nichols and you go down the power lines and you walk along, you know, there's that, you get to that do not trespass sign on the fence and you have to walk around. Well, the walk around needs a huge weed whacking job there. So I forgot about that. That's a big one. And that was after I was talking about, oh, we have all these volunteers coming and helping us out, except we forgot this section, you know. So anyway, I think he said the weekends are the best, which is going to be tricky for us because it's summertime. So I want to find out availability to be able to reach out to the group, and we might be able to do a couple different days. Like not all of us have to be available the same days if we can divide and conquer a little bit. And then also if we can't all be a part of that initiative, can we, you know, in pairs, maybe do some evening trimming if anyone has availability like we've done before. Like that kind of worked out really well, doing some evening times versus taking our valuable, lovely short weekends to do the trail work we love to do, but at the same time we only have 2 days off a week. So any suggestions on dates for availability? I'm probably going to need a few so that I can kind of work with a group of people.
Can I get back to you on some dates and stuff? But the question I have is, maybe this is just me, but a lot of our trails need a good weed whacker or a hedger. Snips and loppers, there's a lot of just a lot of material growing over, especially like 9/11. I need a gas powered weed whacker to really everything down there. Right. I think a lot of trails, but we don't have that equipment if these volunteers don't also have those equipment.
Right.
What, I mean, going with a hand snipper all the way down is going to take forever and a day.
No, Isabel and I both have, I think you too, Tom, we have the hedge trimmers.
Yeah, the battery powered, yes.
Trimmers. Yeah, there's no, I mean, you just take that and you know.
Exactly.
So much easier.
But these volunteers need to bring some kind of tool.
Yeah, they need to bring loppers. Like most of them will have loppers. That I know it's inefficient, but I don't, if there's, it's like power, like, I don't know, many hands make light work type thing. It's not the most efficient, but what is the option if they don't have hedge?
Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I lost power.
And what do we do? You have
you flickered back.
You are on, yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? I got an internet connection bad too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing. If you reach out to them, do a survey of what kind of tools that they can get access to. And we're talking about battery powered weed whackers, battery powered hedgers. I mean, those would be the most efficient.
Okay. Where in 9/11 are you referring to that needs?
So if you go down there and you take the left, so you go clockwise around the circle, we got all the ferns and stuff. The water is on your left.
Okay.
So you get off the road, you take a left with the water. You know,
you take the first left. Okay. Along there, the ferns growing up, just like it did in the Watkins Templeman.
Yes. And they're very close to your legs and, you know.
Yeah, ticks. Oh.
So that's what I'm saying. Down there, if you had say 2 people with, weed whackers.
Is there any poison ivy?
Yes, there's poison ivy.
Boo.
Boo is right.
Yeah. I've got a weed whip. Have you guys ever seen a weed whip? It looks like a triangle and it's really sharp. But that's what I use. You have to be really careful to use it around poison ivy, but I use it when I don't feel comfortable using my weed whacker, because weed whacking poison ivy is the most deadly thing you can do, because you whip that oil all around and it's just basically, why don't you take a bath in it? But the weed whip, you kind of can sort of control, but you like whip it around. It's kind of cool, but it's a handheld manual tool. It's not the fun, but okay. I'll ask about battery powered weed whackers and hedge trimmers and stuff like that. And so if we just get disconnected tonight, so everyone look at your calendars and send me some dates of what's available. send me some evening times, and that might be just for us, and send me one or, some weekend dates, and I'll see what lines up. And if you think I should do a doodle poll, maybe I should do a doodle poll. Would that be easier if we all just have some dates to respond to? Maybe that's easier. I love doodle.
Probably easier for you, right? A doodle pool.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It would be easier for me too. Yeah, doodle poll. So I'll
It's
do
all
that.
about you, Catherine.
No, it's not. Okay, good. So let's do that, and I'll get back to them and see if we can schedule some time with them. And that would be great to have them, like, maybe on an annual basis, if they stick around as an organization, because as some of them age out, they'll have other volunteers and students participate. So they're hoping that it will go on moving forward. So that's that. And then recycling receptacles, update on shipping monofilament line.
My box is ready. I got some stuff in it.
Okay,
I did probably 6 weeks ago, went around.
You did.
I took everything, yes. And there wasn't enough to mail it out. So I didn't mail it out.
Okay.
It still fits in a box.
I have a box from last year. So I'll drop off the box, and maybe I'll hit up the recycling receptacles again and dump them.
Okay. And
if there's
then,
anything in them. And just to let Bella know what we're referring to is, you may have seen around town, we put up, how many did we put up? 4? I think we commissioned 2, and then we ended up getting 2 more additional ones. So we put up these, they're PVC pipes. They are to collect fishing line. And we put them up at the Route 30. There's a little gate there, Route 30. We put one on Route 85. There's a little gate there where people fish. So we tried to hit the fishing spots, one on Middle Road and then one on Deerfoot as well. And the idea is monofilament fishing line doesn't break down, and the stats are like, it takes 600 years to break down. And so we're encouraging people for their fishing line to put it inside these containers, and we would recycle it. Unfortunately, the receptacles can collect a lot of trash. We've been pretty lucky in not getting too much random trash. Did you see a lot of random trash?
just like 2 different things, Dunkin' Donuts cup and like a Bud Light can.
Yeah, you don't have to remember exactly what the. That's okay that you do. So yeah, so that was something we did with the Choate Fund grant last year. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and I'll coordinate with you, Tom, to get that stuff shipped off. And
Now, would I need what size box? Like the stuff I have, I just, went and made it really small, and it all fits into a shoebox.
you might be able to fit this into 2 shoe boxes.
All right, so
I could maybe bring a shoebox or 3 with me.
no, that's fine, because I'll go to either Total Wine or Trader Joe's. You know those wine boxes? They're bigger.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be a good box size to do.
And I have some, I think, so we did a big cleanup last year, Bella, of the point at Route 30. If you think about East Main Street, it's the beginning of the Sudbury Reservoir Trail, and it goes out, it's like a little triangle. There's a little point that people go fishing, and we cleaned all of that up because there's a lot of fishing line out. So that's where that came from. And I had a lot of tree branches in it, so I've got to clean that up a little bit for you.
How's the trash on Ward Road down there? I haven't been in a month or so now. A lot of trash?
Where at this?
Where you are, Bella, on Ward? down
There's not too much trash, honestly. I see more of it on Bigelow Road, if I'm going to be honest. Like there definitely is some trash. It's more like from the highway, so it's like protected by the fence, so you can't really get to it. But I haven't really seen too much trash there. There was one poop bag on one of the cement posts.
No,
Just
I know.
a poop
Don't you
bag
love that?
left on top of there, waiting for the poop fairy to come.
Yes.
And you go down Ward, the access road there. And if you look to the right, the highway's right there, and you see the poop bags hanging in the trees.
Yes,
like
I've seen that.
ornaments.
I know, yeah.
It's like, really, people?
So where does the trash generally gather? Is it along the access road, or is it where people park?
There is some where people park because it is a parking area. So some people like have dropped some of their trash off
Yeah.
around that little cul-de-sac area.
Yeah.
But but generally you'll see some along the trails. It's not too much. It's honestly more like highway debris. Like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of random like styrofoam and just like plastic cups and stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything that people like intentionally litter around here, but
Right.
there could be a sweep through
Yeah.
of the trash area.
Can consider that for when we think about Earth Day. We do like a lot of cleanup along the trails where, and usually it's the trailheads or where the parking is that we find trash. But last time, Tom, and we're going to close up soon, but last time you'd mentioned they moved rocks and stuff and made it. I saw that. I went by. I was like, that is really nice. That's like so much more inviting and we can really get through there. But one day we can have a kiosk up in there. That's one of our Eagle Scout projects on our wish list. So maybe someone will come forward and say.
So Bella, do you consider that the end of Bigelow or end of Ward?
That's the end of
cul-de-sacs?
Ward.
Where's Bigelow then?
Bigelow is so my house is like right before Bigelow Road. It's you take a left. It's like you get down a little bit halfway down the street and then you just take a left onto Bigelow Road. There's like a big white house with a barn and it's right before there.
Is that the red barn?
Yes, there's a red barn there.
Yep. Not that I'm a creep or anything, but I know it.
Yeah, they also have a really cool castle playhouse that I've always admired. But that's besides the point. It goes up there and some of the trails connect onto the Burroughs Loop Trail.
Yeah.
And it also goes into Westboro for the Sudbury Valley Trails.
Yeah.
And they have a big kiosk over there too, because there's like a parking area. Connects from Walker to Bigelow Road.
Yeah. That's a fun little area to explore.
Mhm.
Okie doke. Anything else? I think we've hit on most things. I'll connect with Nick McBoy and I'll send out dates after this and you guys just let me know what works for you for the day. And then the next Board of Selectmen meeting is on the 17th where Isabella will hopefully be appointed to our committee and then we'll be whole again. And we'll also learn about whether we can have some adjunct members. Okay, so next meeting, I guess we should wait until after the 17th so that Isabella will be officially our member. Anyone going away in August, which will make it, oh, Mr. Tom, speaking of CPA, Conservation Commission, getting that
Oh, good.
10 rolling.
So the thing with that is I was kind of like, not putting it off, but until we actually know when they're gonna, do the permit, the exit, the public access. I mean, I know we have a 3-year clock, but do we want to start the clock so soon?
Yeah, because we need that in place before we can, because when we fill out the grant, we're going to have to do a trail approval form. And that, when I spoke with Amanda Lewis, and she said, you have to have all your permits in place and you make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's, because when those DCR folks start looking at your notice of intent, you want to make sure everything is letter of the
All
law,
right.
she
All
said.
right, I will get
Yeah.
going on that. I'll get on their meeting agenda to do a prelim, what we need and all that stuff.
Well, actually, if you wanted to, you could probably reach out to Melissa Danza and schedule a phone call. And then you could invite me to your phone call. And she can help us outline the steps. And then I think there'll be some homework we have to do. And then then we can go before the Conservation Commission and rock and roll.
Now, they're going to give us a pro bono on that because it is a fee to file on the Concon.
How much?
I don't know what it is nowadays.
They're going to charge us? We don't have a budget.
Oh.
Well, let's ask Melissa how that works, and if we do have to file the fee, then we can ask Recreation, who we serve under, Bella, for your purposes. Ask Tim if he would be able to fund that if we are required to pay a fee, which is kind of funny because you're taking out of one town account, just sliding it over to the other town account, right? Yeah. Okay. So August meeting, do we want to try to shoot for the end of August? Anyone going away? I'd love to go away. I'm trying to go away. But I don't have anything on the calendar just yet.
I was planning on going away the week of the 15th to the 21st.
Yep.
So that would be during the selectmen meeting, but I assume I could I zoom into that?
I think so. And I would like to know if you even need to be there.
Yeah.
Because you've already been interviewed. You've
Mhm.
already had, you've submitted the form. And if you were planning to be away, then, can I reach out to, do you mind if I reach out to Lisa and ask her if you need to be there because you're planning on being on vacation anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. I wasn't sure if I should reach out, but if you would like to, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm happy to find out what that protocol is because I think it should be pretty automatically. They'll probably even do it in one of those like roll up consent agendas, like, oh, we have these 5 things to do. So I don't know that you need to be there. So I'll double check because I was going to try to be there, but I'm not because we have other business before them. So I might be able to, I'll find out. I'm sure we'll be fine. So you're gone that week. Okay. Anybody else gone? That week's in August that we should avoid?
Well, I was planning on taking a week in August, but we don't know what it is yet, so it's tough
Yeah.
to plan then.
Yeah, me either. We're gonna have the Boy Scout business. Should we tentatively try for the following week? Like Tuesday, the 24th? We can put it
Sure.
out there. And if it turns out that someone goes on vacation, including me, that we can just move it to accommodate. And we don't know if Isabel is available on the 24th. So why don't I put it out there on the Tuesday, the 24th? Does that work for you, Sati? For right now?
Yes.
Okay. 6:30. We'll put it out to Isabel and see if she's available. And then if we have to move it, we have to move it. Okay.
Okay,
Great.
got it.
So I think that's it. Anything else that we haven't touched on that was on the agenda? Great. Sati, if I send you the PDFs, are you comfortable sending those minutes off to our friends at the town?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. And then you can send me the
Oh, I
Word.
forgot to send it to you in advance. Oh no.
Okay, no problem.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. I mean, I usually listen to, so that's a good thing. So I can.
Yeah, I'll get in the habit of sending you the agenda in Word format so you can just take notes on it
Yep.
directly.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Great. Does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So
Okay, that's Tom. And do I have a second?
I can do the second.
Great, thank you. And let's do a roll call. So Satyendra Sharma
Yes.
and Tom McCoolier
yes.
and Kat McKee, yes. And for the record, Isabel Murphy, we was disconnected due to technical difficulties. We had a thunderstorm and everyone lost internet. So if the beginning of this meeting was dropped off, that's the reason why. All right, I call the meeting then. We adjourn at 7:49. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be in touch.
Right.
Have a great one.
Bye all.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.